Welcome again to an episode of Learn the TOEFL the Easy Way with Teacher Fish. In this video, we will discuss about a TOEFL listening question type called function question. Be sure to watch the video in full, because I will be giving some tips to make answering a function question easier. Function question asks a test taker to determine the underlying or inferred meaning of what has been mentioned in the passage. This question type usually asks about a specific part of the passage, sometimes even a single word. However, it does not ask about the meaning of the word, but rather the information implied by how the speaker says them. Function question often involves replaying a part of the passage, or the topic of the question, and then will replay just the topic. In addition, it may either ask what a speaker is inferring, or a purpose of a statement. Now, let us learn how a function question may appear on the test. By the way, since most function questions involve replaying of the recording, you will see a drawing of a headset beside the question. This drawing is actually the signal that you have to wait for the part of the recording to be replayed before choosing your answer. And so, some function questions ask about what the speaker is implying or inferring, and are commonly replay questions. They may look like these. What does the professor imply when he says this? Replay. What can be inferred from the professor's reply to the student? Replay. Other function questions ask about the purpose of a particular statement or a topic in the lecture or conversation, and may either be a regular or a replay question. They may appear on the test like these. What is the purpose of the woman's response? Replay. Why does the student say this? Replay. Why does the professor ask the student about his grades? Why does the man tell the student about the library? Function question, for many test takers, is one of the hardest listening question types to solve. Probably because it does not concern the literal meaning of what is said, but instead, the underlying meaning of it. But do not worry, what we will have next are the things you can do to make function question an easy question to solve. Firstly, read between the lines. Remember, you should not always take what the speaker is saying or asking literally. Always keep in mind two things when answering a function question: what is the speaker implying, and what the purpose of the speaker's line is. But how am I able to know what the purpose or what the speaker is implying, you may ask. One is by using the surrounding statements and connect them with the topic being asked. Based on given facts, try to make a prediction and arrive at a logical conclusion. For example, if on the way to work, you realize that you do not have your mobile phone, then remembered the last place you saw it was in the kitchen, you might infer that it is in the kitchen. Now it might not be there, but based on what you can remember, in which case stands as evidence, led you to the logical conclusion that your mobile phone is actually in the kitchen. Another is, often when a function question is asked, especially a replay, the speaker uses words that may be unfamiliar, or even at times may use figures of speech. Interpret them based on the context of the dialogue or speech. For instance, you saw your friend with a wide smile on his face. You may greet him by saying, "You are as bright as the sun today," which means that your friend is having a good day. Or, the speaker may say, "This place is a zoo," when describing a noisy and uncontrolled place. And so, the next strategy is to listen to the tone of voice of the speaker. In most cases, secondary meanings, those that can be inferred, are embedded in the speaker's tone of voice. Being able to recognize his or her tone can help determine the real meaning of what has just been spoken. The speaker may alter his or her voice to indicate certain emotions or mood. For instance, if the speaker suddenly changes the speed of his or her speech at the same time increases the volume, it may be deemed as a sign of opposition or contradiction. Whereas, If the speaker lowers the volume of his or her voice, it may mean an acceptance of a fault. Let us listen to a conversation to see what I am talking about.
Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a professor.
Good morning, Professor Johnson. Can I talk to you for a bit?
Of course you can. What's on your mind today, Denise?
Yesterday's lecture. To tell you the truth, a lot of it went over my head. I just didn't get it.
These things happen. Tell me, what part of it did you have trouble with?
All of it. It was just really confusing for me.
Okay. Did you do the assigned reading? How did you feel about the material in the book?
Yes, I did the reading. It wasn't too bad, but I still couldn't understand most of your lecture. What should I do?
I've got a couple of articles for you to read. They should help you figure out the material. Hold on while I try to find them.
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Yesterday's lecture. To tell you the truth, a lot of it went over my head. I just didn't get it.
These things happen.
What can be inferred from the professor's response to the student?
These things happen.
Choice A. Best describes what the professor is implying. When the professor says, "These things happen," she is indicating that she understands that students have a hard time with the material. In addition, her tone of voice also indicates her sympathy toward the student. Moving forward, the third tip is to pay close attention to dialogues. Function question appears in both conversation and lecture. However, when it appears in a lecture, it often involves a dialogue. For example, when a student asks a question while the professor's lecture is ongoing. Then the professor digresses temporarily from the lecture to answer the student's question. In this situation, focus on the dialogue, because there is a very big possibility that a question will be asked about it. Here is an example.
Listen to part of a lecture in an art history class.
But wasn't medieval art fairly advanced?
Not really. Medieval artists weren't able to make very sophisticated paintings. In fact, take a look at some medieval artwork sometime. In some cases, it's, quite simplistic. Then compare it with Renaissance art. You'll see that Renaissance artists knew many advanced techniques that medieval artists simply didn't know. Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
But wasn't medieval art fairly advanced?
Not really. Medieval artists weren't able to make very sophisticated paintings. What is the purpose of the professor's response? Not really.
The last tip is to listen to the whole part of the recording that is replayed, and not just the topic itself. It will assist you in determining what the speaker means or implying. It is rather important to do this, because remember, some function questions, when replay involved, may ask a question about a specific piece of information or even a single word. Listen again to this sample.
Hi Jill, what brings you here?
Good afternoon, Professor Forkel. Can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
If the question asks about the professor's response, shoot. Only focusing on it might not lead you to the correct answer. However, if you also paid attention to the woman's question, it would be easier to come up with a logical conclusion that the professor's reply, shoot, actually means that he is allowing the student to proceed with her question. So, it is again time to check what you have learned, and see if the strategies I shared would work for you. Here is a part of a conversation.
Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a professor. Hello there, Larry. Thank you for taking the time to drop by. I see that you got my email.
Yes, sir, I did. I came here just as soon as I read it. You were a little cryptic, though. Is this something about the test we just took? I thought I did pretty well on it, but maybe I didn't since you called me in here.
Test? Oh, no. I haven't even looked at them yet. In fact, I'm still trying to grade papers from another one of my classes.
Well, that's a relief. So, what do you want to speak with me about?
Yes, here. Take a look at this brochure, please.
It's a brochure for a study abroad program in Italy. You know, that sounds totally wonderful, sir. But I'm afraid my family can't afford to send me abroad. Thanks for letting me know about it, though.
Oh, you don't have to worry about paying for it. You see, Larry, the department just selected you to receive the Mary Stewart Scholarship.
The Mary Stewart Scholarship? What's that?
It's a scholarship given to the best student in the department each year. It pays for 1 semester of studying abroad, and it even includes airfare, room and board, and a small monthly stipend. Congratulations.
My goodness, I'm stunned. Thank you so much, sir. I guess I need to look more carefully at that brochure, don't I?
Format 1. Listen again to a part of the conversation, then answer the question. It's a scholarship given to the best student in the department each year. It pays for 1 semester of studying abroad, and it even includes airfare, room and board, and a small monthly stipend. Congratulations.
My goodness, I'm stunned.
What can be inferred from the student's response to the professor?
My goodness, I'm stunned.
Choice C best describes what the student is implying. When he said, "I'm stunned," he was indicating his surprise. He was definitely not expecting to win the scholarship. Choices A, B, and D are not mentioned in the conversation. And so, we have reached the end of our lesson video about another TOEFL listening question type, function question. I hope that after watching the video, you now find the question easier to answer. If you have comments, suggestions, and feedback, please leave them on the comment section, and I will do my best to answer them as fast as I can. Also, please do not forget to press like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, so that you'd be informed every time I upload a new video. And always remember, the TOEFL is not difficult, if you know what to do. With that, see you again on the next episode of Learn the TOEFL the Easy Way with Teacher Fish.